Welcome to Surviving This Together, another Survivor podcast. This week we're discussing the 8th episode of Season 35, Heroes, Healers, Hustlers, and Herobrine. I'm Levi.
I'm Lauri.
I'm Brandon.
So this was a good episode. This is a really good episode of Survivor. Things got pretty wacky.
Most importantly, Mike is still around. That's important to note.
That is important. Much like it's important that Ryan's still around, who is probably the best player out there.
Yeah, I'm getting some strange vibes off of Ryan. I don't know. He's like up and down with me. One episode I love him, and the next episode I'm like, I want to see him fall. You know, I just need to see him stumble.
I was thinking the same thing because I'm like, man, I'm really on the Ryan train this episode, but I feel like last episode I was pretty hard on him.
Yeah, I'm just looking over our pick lists from our post-merge boot list, and Brandon and I both have Ryan picked as the winner.
I'd like to note that last episode, and I believe the episode before that, I stated some issues with how I didn't think Christy was doing that great. That maybe her ego is getting the better of her, and yet again we saw her like in front of everybody whispering to Ryan. And Ryan like wasn't as good about it as Ben was, where he's like, dude, but like Cole looked over like, okay, clearly you guys are whispering right now.
I mean, does anybody care at this point that she's like being this conniving?
Welcome to Survivor.
Or do they just not notice?
I think it's going to get her in trouble. Like, it's just going to build this case against her or for her if she makes it to the final. But, like, they got out Desi instead of Joe tonight, which means that, like, if this were an older season, I think Joe would have been the one out because he's making everything annoying. Ben was yelling at him, etc. And Desi's just kind of, she seems quiet and easy to get along with. Like, she is a physical threat, but, like, I think that just kind of shows the mental caliber of most of the people on this season.
I think at this point everyone has decided that Joe's the GOAT. Like, yeah, Joe's going to the end, no matter what. Like, unless like something crazy happens where he becomes like the majority, gets in the majority again, like he's not going home.
Yeah, I think it's kind of fun because this season Joe, they're just kind of shutting him down, and they're like, your silly tricks aren't going to work. We're not like intimidated by your idols. You're not going to pull one over on us. Like, just stop. And they just kind of like leave it alone, vote out Desi, just kind of leave Joe there to, like, not intimidate them.
Well, and, like, Joe's getting, I can't tell, like, he was getting preseason all of these, like, Tony comparisons, and now I think he was giving them to himself. But Ben was the one this episode with a spy shack, so who's the real Tony of this season?
Oh, yeah. That was so funny.
That was cracking me up.
He was so obvious, like, peeking around the trees and everything.
Yeah.
There was a cameraman behind that camera in his head going like doing like high fives to him, so he's like, yeah, we got the shot with Ben in the background ducking behind the bushes. This is gonna be great.
Well, and for a second it looked like Ryan noticed him, like just the editing, but it doesn't seem like he did because Ryan went straight into a confessional without acknowledging that Ben was like peeping on him.
Huh, interesting.
Something else I noticed this episode, all of Ryan's confessionals were filmed, like, from the side. It was really awkward, and he has really eloquent ways of explaining everything, so just like, oh, hey there, like, looking over the shoulder, let me tell you about what was happening on Survivor this week.
And this is why I need him to, like, trip up and stumble, and because he seems way too confident every time he talks, especially in his confessionals. You know, and I want to see him trip up a little bit so that he's shaken and actually, like, talks like a normal person in the confessionals. I mean, I don't mean to sound mean.
I don't think he has it in him. Like, even when, like, his tribe is going to tribal every time, he's like, this is like a bad birthday party. This is, like, something, the worst tricycle ever. Like, I don't think that even in his, like, worst state he can talk without using metaphors and similes and...
I feel like once the season ends and I've had like a week or two, I'll have really strong opinions on him one way or the other. But right now, I'm like, I don't know.
So were you guys as excited as Jeff Probst was about the spaghetti?
I was not, and it was funny because he kept saying like, it's a big, big reward on the line. I'm like, Jeff, it's just spaghetti. Like, even if I were super hungry, I'd be like, oh, it's spaghetti. That's nice.
So before we get to how disgusting that was, I don't like when they do not a schoolyard pick, a random pick, and somebody has to sit out and automatically gets it. I wish they would have made him pick a team to root for and then get the reward if that team won.
Yeah, I like that.
I hate when they're like, you didn't get picked, you don't get the reward. You didn't get picked, you do get the reward. It's like, it's stupid.
So this meal was a little bit different. Typically, it's like, he said first, like, it's a family style, and I'm like, that just means they share. That's not that big of a deal, Jeff. But then he went on to explain that it'd be, I really liked this, but, like, one person would go eat privately and have their, like, shame spaghetti, I guess, and, like, nobody else would know how much spaghetti was there or how much had been eaten.
When they mentioned the family meal thing, like, and everybody's face lit up, I'm like, oh wow, they're bringing in family members already, and he's like, as in you'll all be sharing the meal. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I thought they were going to bring family in. He shouldn't have said family style, because I thought that family was going to show up. Like, pick a different word. This is Pigpen style, where everyone puts their face in it. That would have been way cool.
So Joe lets Cole go first, and Cole's, like, eating away. Or not Cole, who is it? Yeah, Cole goes first.
Devin.
Devin went first, then
damn
Cole.
it.
You'll get there.
Devin goes first, and he eats and, like, doesn't really notice anything, and he's, like, super concerned. And then we get JP, and he's eating, and the camera zooms in to show that there's, like, writing, but it's JP. So instead of getting, like, confessional of him being like, oh, so I noticed this great thing, it's confessional of him just being like, I just hope everybody likes me. I wish I could have gone last. And it's, like, the most JP confessional possible.
I just wish I could have gone last and ate the rest of it, but I'm happy anyway. Like, that frickin'... the words were, like, exposed at this point. He has got to be the most oblivious person ever cast.
So yeah, then who eats next? It's Cole, then it's Devin, then Cole. And Cole's the one who he, like, he notices that it's there, he reads it, and he's like, this is great. And then instead of saying, like, I should get rid of this plate, he covers it up with the napkin, which I thought looked really stupid. But then Chrissy comes up, and she looks at it, and she's, like, looking everywhere for the idol, and she's like, man, it's weird I didn't get a plate.
Yeah, that was a little bit wacky. I'm glad that she looked underneath there. It was...
This whole scene was so gross and weird, and like the people just sitting on the log waiting for their chance to eat. They weren't having any sort of fun. It was like on a crappy beach. They didn't even get, like, pillows. They were just like, go sit on this shitty beach and wait for your turn to eat this shitty spaghetti. It was like a punishment. It was more like a punishment, because they were like, you can't actually eat.
It was cracking me up that, like, Ryan was, like, one of the last ones to, like, go out there, and he's kind of like, oh, look at that, a message on the plate. You know what? I'm going to hide this plate now.
I don't think I would have thought of that.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a lot of, like, couch survivoring. It just, if I would have seen the tablecloth, like, he's like, I wanted it to look as natural as possible, but it's still, like, not even centered on the plate.
Yeah.
Like, it just looked so out of place. I'd be like, well, obviously somebody tampered with this. Like, he was so bad about it. And then Chrissy just, like, she's so smart. I think that's the thing. If it had been Joe right afterward, who was like, wow, this is weird, and then just, like, didn't do anything, it'd be one thing. But, like, Chrissy, like, there's moments where, like, and later on when she's, like, whisper talking.
Well, and she gets back, and we see more of her, like, a la conversation with Ben at the merge feast, where she's trying to, like, whisper right next to everybody.
I think it's funny that they tried to, like, kind of hide it, like, oh, we're not talking about anything, and Cole's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, oh, nothing.
I think that's just par for Survivor. Everybody's always gonna be talking, and since, like, they can't leave each other's company, there's probably some rule about, like, you guys stay right here, nobody wander off now. And there's
I'm sure,
like...
but it could have waited until they went back to camp. Like, they're laying right next to the people they don't want to hear about it.
Do you think they have a rule where they just had to be miserable at this reward? They
sit there and look grumpy.
They walk back to camp, and they all walk right past the flag, which I'm sure production made them do.
Yeah, I think Ryan handled this grab for the immunity idol perfectly. That couldn't have gone any better from, like, the way that Ryan handled it.
It was Cole, Chrissy, and Ryan were the three that knew about it. Cole is such a dummy pants. Like, Ryan just disappears and he's not watching after he got clues that Ryan and Chrissy both knew about it.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, Cole is the only one here. Like, Joe didn't know about it, JP didn't know about it, so they have no reason to, like, keep an eye on Ryan. But Cole knew about the idol and saw Chrissy and Ryan whispering and didn't keep, like, an eagle eye on both of them. Like, he let Ryan run off and didn't say, like, where's he going? He must have tried to get it.
That's just, like, another mark on Cole's, like, resume of things that Cole should have known better to do. You know?
Maybe Cole would be a good GOAT this season.
I think he's too like, I don't think he's worth keeping as a GOAT, really. Like, Joe, if you make him think, like, hey, I'm working with you, you're super smart, I think Joe will kind of go with you. I mean, like, working with Joe, like, Joe wasn't the downfall of Desi directly. Like, it wasn't his doing, necessarily.
Yeah.
But I think Cole's too antsy and too oblivious, and he would accidentally mess up your game.
Well, and there's always this excuse every time Cole gets brought up that it's like, he's just hungry. This is why he can't, think straight. He's just so hungry.
That mad grab was great. Ryan rushes over, scoops it up real quick, and then, like, Cole and I'm sorry. Then Chrissy comes over, then Cole comes over, and he's like kind of whispering to her. He's like, I got it. Just like bury the hole, fill in the hole. So she like goes over there to fill it in, and that's when Cole sees her. It's like, oh my gosh, she's going for the idol, and like dog pile, and Ryan's like, put it in my pocket, but I'll pretend to get it too.
Pit.
Yeah, he tries for like 3 seconds, and then he's like, at least he's like a small dude, so other people probably thought like, yeah, he doesn't want to get destroyed. Like, he will die if he's in this dog pile, because it was like Ben, Chrissy, and Cole who were like very muscly, and he was just like, I have no chance here. So like, he had that to his advantage, I think.
Well, it's a good look on him to be like, what is happening? Should I go? I don't know what's happening, so I'm not going to jump in there. He came out of this looking good, which is amazing.
Yeah, that couldn't have gone any better for Ryan. I mean, because it looks like, because everyone thought Cole had it, and possibly Chrissy. Like, nobody suspected Ryan. And
getting what we got, you guys have to remember, like, the season started with Alan Ball making JP take off his pants to prove that he didn't have an idol. Whenever he's like, Cole has it, he put it in his pants. I was like, oh God, are we going to have another pants sting over an idol? What's going to happen when they realize he doesn't have it because they've made him strip?
Well, and I felt like Cole was so just like shocked at what had happened, because Ben was like, now you have the idol, and he's like, yeah, so what, I have the idol. I don't have the idol. Well, so what if I do? Maybe I do. Could have been crazy.
Well, later he was using it as a bargaining too. I can't remember who he was talking to, but he's like, well, I have this, I think it was Mike and Ryan he was talking to maybe, and he's like, well, I could still play that on one of my alliance members.
It's like he couldn't decide if he wanted people to think he had it or to let people know that he didn't have it.
Yeah.
It was such a weird rift. I think if I went on Survivor, I would have nothing to do with hidden immunity idols.
It's so much. It's like, I think it's really high risk with a low chance of actual reward. Like, we see, the reason that good idol plays are so fun to watch is because they happen so rarely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You get like one kind of every other season or every third season.
Well, it's a lot to chew on, too. It's like us sitting here, we're talking about, would you pretend like you had one or not? And I mean, there's not actually even an idol, and we're just talking about, would you pretend like you had an idol? It's a lot. It's a lot.
So what we haven't talked about yet is Lauren's advantage that was just like sitting in camp for a week.
Yeah.
That nobody noticed.
That was great. Well, I love the paranoia that this is going to create. Like, people are going to start like crunching the numbers, because we did get to see like all the votes essentially, and somebody's going to go, hey, like, it didn't come up in this episode, but it has to come up in the next episode. And even if it doesn't come up in the next episode, somebody had to have noticed, and that creates a lot of paranoia, and I love that.
Well, yeah. She told people, though. Like, we see in the preview for next episode that she's straight up like, I got an extra vote, guys. That's my Lauren impression, by the way.
something crabs. No, I love it because it's Lauren, and I'm just such a huge fan of her, and anything that gives her a little more screen time, I'm all good.
On that note, Brandon, who upset Lauren the most in this episode?
Yes, I was thinking about this, and it was Jeff Probst, because he was all giddy and talkity during Tribal, and she was like, shut up, I'm like trying to focus and trying to figure out how I'm going to use this. Shut up, Jeff, stop talking. Like, right before she had to go up to vote, she was stressed out, and he was in a good mood, and she's like, that's annoying. So
I love how she ditched I love how she got rid of the second slip of paper. The first one, she kind of wadded up and stuck in her top, and the second one she's kind of folded in half and like brushed it like sneaky off like the back of the table, and I was like, well, I'll just pick up slip, put it right back down.
Well, like, I think the impression is supposed to be that she can use that piece of paper in a future one, but like, she's getting a new piece of paper. There's no way that like it'll be like all of these votes and then it's like nasty bra sweat. Like, boobs get sweaty.
I hadn't thought about
the
that.
Nastiest. It will disintegrate.
What if she just kept collecting them on revotes and was like, I have like 10 votes, guys. Who's going out?
Bam, bam, bam.
They should have let her do that. I wonder if they prepped her for a revote. Or if she talked to a producer and she was like, what do I do? I wouldn't have known what to do. I would have been freaking out.
This challenge had me wondering. We have Lauren wears a baseball cap and Ben wears a cowboy hat, both of which are kind of like part of their like look that I feel like, you know, like the producers try to dress them to kind of build up their character. Do you think that's a luxury item?
I think those are luxury items.
I thought they stopped with luxury items.
They still bring them, they just don't talk about it.
Really?
Yeah, I figured there was. Yeah, I figured. I'm pretty sure luxury items are still a thing. They just like, I think they realized pretty quickly after like 3 seasons, like nobody cares if you brought a hacky sack unless it's like a flag.
I would care.
Desi was one of the last ones out. So this was the point where I knew that Mike was safe this episode because, like, in everybody's boot episode, they have to kind of give you the reason why that person was gone. And, like, we hadn't heard from Mike this, but then also there's, like, the big showdown between Cole and Desi at the end. So I'm like, okay, if Desi is one of the healers, like, I think it'll be between her and Joe because, like, now they can vote her out because, A, Joe, and B, she's a physical threat.
Okay, so on her, this has been a thing with the last, and I don't know if you want to get into it, but this has been a thing with the last 4 females voted out, where they say Chrissy hates other strong females and that Chrissy just targets females only.
I could see that. I got that impression with Rourke where, like, I don't feel like Rourke really did anything to her, but we got the confessional from Chrissy being like, she thinks she's so smart, but she's not. I'm the smart one. It was kind of like, ooh, that's mean.
Yeah.
Huh. I never really noticed that, but that's an interesting take.
Because I had started to notice that, like, all of the females are leaving. The only ones we have left are Ashley and Chrissy and Lauren.
Which is kind of a bummer because going into the season, I'm like, dang, with, like, Rourke, Desi, like, all these, I was like, this is a good season for the ladies, but here we are.
Allie, I forgot about Allie, and now my heart just re-broke.
Oh, dear.
I loved her. I can't wait to see
I
her
was
come
thinking,
back.
like, I had really high hopes for Desi. Like, just between, like, her associations with sports and then her associations with, like, the pageant world where, like, you really have to be a really great actress and great at presenting yourself a certain way to win those. Like, I think she could have gone really far. Like, I'd really like to see her again.
You know something that, before this season started, I remember Jeff will always kind of say a couple of vague things about the season, and the one that he said before this season that really stuck out to me, and it's really making sense now, he said, the way people handle secrets this episode is very unique. You know, some people will always, like, lock down their secrets, some people will immediately, like, you know, blurt them out, and this season just has kind of secrets being handled in unusual ways, and I definitely see that. I definitely see what he was getting at there now.
Well, yeah, and then the way Jessica and Mike handle their secret.
Yeah.
She never told anybody about it.
Yeah.
Well, and then, so this season we've had the de-pantsing, we've had the crab in the pants, and next episode we have Ryan telling everybody who will listen that he has an idol in his pants.
Oh, yeah.
This is like the season that is just so, even the Facebook with the underwear, it's just a very pants-centric season, and it's so bizarre.
Yeah. That's not a bad thing. I think that's good television.
I mean, it's all they have. It's all they have are their pants. Like, what else are they supposed to talk about?
Well, and I also love, so, like, usually, especially, like, oh Lord, who was it? It was Kelly. Like, do you remember when she got the idol in a competition and she, like, hid it somewhere, and we're all like, you have, like, where did you put it?
Yeah.
And, like, so at least, and, like, nobody ever mentions it, and it drives me crazy. And at least this time we have Ryan, like, yeah, I put it in my pants. Like,
Yeah, put it in my pants.
Because, like, usually they're just, like, they try to dance around the fact that, like, they'll have, like, ass idols. But here we are.
Here we are. Sorry, Jeff.
Well, and, like, even when Joe grabbed his idol out, he, like, clearly, like, ruffled around for a second, then, like, pulled it out of his freaking pants. Like, I just...
They need to give him, like, cargo shorts.
Everybody wears cargo shorts for a season. The worst.
Cargo.
Oh, God.
God.
So, yeah, we got the vote. Cole didn't have an idol. It was, like, half. So there was 11. There should have been 11 votes. There was only 10. I can't remember. How many were there supposed to be?
There were...
I'll
Oh,
count.
God. There
were
were 10 votes.
Yeah. So we
And there was supposed to
had,
be
what was it?
11. Sorry.
We had four for Joe, 4 for Desi, 1 for Chrissy, 1 for Lauren.
1 for Ben, 1 for Lauren.
That's what it was.
Wait, somebody
And
voted
then,
for
so
Ben? Oh, wait. Yeah, of course, Ben.
Oh, we didn't touch on, it's a little bit serious, but the whole, like, Marine thing got pretty serious for, like, a very loopy episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Joe was definitely pushing Ben's buttons there, and Ben was just like, and Ben knew it, and he was like, I know I shouldn't let it bother me, but it does.
Joe kept saying, well, it doesn't matter if he's lied about the Marines or not. It does, because you're sitting here telling him it does, so, like, why are you even saying this?
Well, Ben has played such a good game, and I get that it means a lot to him, and he's been through a lot, but, like, let it go, man. Like, let it go. He was yelling at him to the point where, like, everybody was like, wow, are they fighting? And, like, everybody knew that it was Joe pushing his buttons, but, like, they're all used to it. They're just like, man, Ben got weak for a second, sort of thing. Like, it made him look not great.
Oh, well, yeah, but like, these people have been, like, stuck living together with, like, these obnoxious other guests for so long.
Yeah, I'm not saying he was in the wrong, but I'm saying from the game standpoint, like, it was not a good look for him. And, like, I understand he was upset, but, like, everybody knows Joe's game at this point.
Yeah, no, and I'm sure that's exactly what Joe was trying to do. Joe was trying to get them all riled up and make them look bad. And I think it worked a little bit, unfortunately.
Yeah, I wonder if this is why Joe stayed, because people at this point are just saying, why vote him out? He's not going to make any footing in this game anymore. Whereas Desi still could have.
I absolutely think it is.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Well, and the Desi can win challenges more than Joe can.
Well, at the beginning of the episode, we had Ben saying specifically that Lauren and I had a plan, and it worked as to getting out, who was out last week, Jessica. So, like, it's clear that, like, Ben and Lauren were kind of calling the shots to an extent, which was also kind of weird to me because, like, from our perspective, it's Ben and Chrissy, but then he said Ben and Lauren. He, like, said Lauren was his, like, teammate in it.
I keep thinking it's like Ryan and Chrissy kind of calling the shots.
Well, like, that too, but, like, if anything, like, Ben specifically, like, I wouldn't have expected him to say Lauren's name there.
Right. Yeah, it's weird. I always forget that those two are together. Yeah, see, so I think we're getting this narrative that it is, like, the Chrissy thing, but in the game it seems like everybody else is thinking it's, like, the Lauren game, where Lauren's calling the shots, but we don't get to see that.
I'm hoping we get, like, a secret scene or something, because, like, it was such a weird comment for them to leave in the edit for Ben to say that, because, like, it just went by in passing, and even after him saying that, we didn't really see any of him with Lauren.
Yeah.
Does anybody at this point know that Mike has an idol? Because, like, Jessica's out. She may have told Cole.
No,
but...
she didn't tell anybody. In her exit interview, she said she didn't tell his soul, so nobody knows he has it except for him.
Good on him. Good on him.
Yeah.
So, Mike's the guy I work with, man. So I'm curious, like, it's one of those things, like, it feels like Mike is gonna, like, do okay in this game, even though, like, it looks bad in the numbers game, but I just don't know what's going on with him, but, like, I feel like he's gonna do okay, but I can't pinpoint why.
Well, the thing about him, he jumped ship tonight from the healer, so he's at least, you know, moving on over to where the numbers are.
Oh, he did jump. He did change his vote?
Yeah, him and Cole both voted against Desi and Joe. It might be a little too late, especially for Cole, but I don't know, maybe Mike. People like him. I'm looking at Facebook right now.
Oh,
what do we have on the
Facebook?
Facebook?
It was so cute. You guys said it at the same time. This person says, if Cole had to pee, he should have just done it right at the flag. No one would have wanted to dig in it then, and he wouldn't have given the Ma window to find it first.
That's a good idea. Pee on the idol. Taking that one for the win.
There has to be rules against that, right?
No, why would there be?
Well, because, like, on Big Brother, you can't do stuff like that. Like, there was one girl who cleaned a toilet bowl with somebody's toothbrush. So, like, I feel like peeing, like, I feel like maybe there's, like, a perimeter where they're like, you can't pee at camp. Because it's, like, a risk for disease and ickiness. So, like...
Oh, maybe. There were a lot of people really upset about the spaghetti challenge. I picked, like, a couple. They either thought it was just too gross. One person said it was the grossest thing they've ever seen on TV. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right. They were like, I'd rather eat a bug than eat this person's spaghetti. But, okay. It says, the spaghetti needed more sauce, looked kind of dry and tasteless. Although if I was starving, I wouldn't be too picky.
Very informative. It was very...
I think that's what Survivor's always trying to do, is be like, yo, look how hungry these people are. They're willing to eat spaghetti off of like a pillowcase.
Yeah.
I can't get over Cole's like, I want it to look natural, and it's like off-center, and you didn't even do that right. Continue.
And then it was like upside down. This person just says, this person says, I thought I was going to throw up when all these people ate that spaghetti. Number one, how greedy were they? And how they just kept shoving in the noodles like no one was following them.
I think they all did pretty good.
On the same team, but
they did pretty good. I mean, this was like an uproar.
That's so funny.
It's so funny.
I loved it. I thought it was great. This was like, there was one point, like, I was like laughing the whole time, and then when they got back to camp and like Ryan grabbed the thing, and then like Cole almost went over there, like, I think I squealed out loud because it was just so funny and so exciting.
yeah, it was great.
And like JP had no idea, which is so funny.
Yeah, that's the best part, is JP just like was there, but like was not there. Okay, this person says something that we never even brought up, and she says, how about the creepy heart beating on the skinny guy? Can't remember his name. Never seen that ever.
Yeah, that was freaking me out a little bit.
Yeah, that was a lot.
That was insane. Yeah, I've never seen that. Okay, so this person says, surely someone realized there weren't enough votes in that round. Chrissy has demonstrated she's skilled at math. Maybe no one wanted to admit they noticed something wasn't quite right, as long as it wasn't themselves at risk.
I think they just want to bring it up at the next one. Like, I'm sure, like, the first 15 minutes of the episode will somebody be like, hold on a second, something doesn't add up, and then, like, the uproar.
I wonder if it'll be Chrissy, because she is good at math.
I want it to be JP.
Yeah, right. Are you serious? I would die. Oh, yeah, this one I really wanted to read. It says, yo, Jeff, we need stats on the screen. Even a superfan like me is having trouble following idols, advantages, and who knows about them. With that said, I love all the extra plays castaways can make. Anyone else agree? So yeah, what do you think about like a stat marker on the screen that says Joe, no more idol, Chrissy, or I don't know, Mike, idol, no one knows.
I don't think I'd like it, because I do like the aspect of like discussing and trying to figure out like, wait, does he know about this? Because it kind of like, we're already like couch survivoring, so like I feel like it kind of makes you feel the chaos that the survivors feel a little bit when you're like trying to figure out like, okay, this means this means this.
No, I think you're right. I think it kind of helps pull you into the game when you have to remember, just like the players do, the clues that you're seeing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think it would be cool if next to them they would just like say he has an idol, just to remind us, maybe. But I agree. Okay, everybody, go let your soul shine bright. Shine bright like a Devon. Shine bright like a Devon. That's how it's going to end. Thanks, everyone, for listening to this episode of We're Surviving This Together. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at survivingthistogether@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter at survivingtogether, and on Facebook. If you liked what you heard here, please leave a review. Thank you. Thanks. Bye.